It begins quietly, as most strange things do. There is no loud noise, no sudden flash, no warning at all. Just a subtle shift, so small that at first, it feels like nothing has changed. A man walks down a familiar street. The air feels normal. The ground beneath his feet is solid. The rhythm of his steps is calm, steady, almost hypnotic. But then, something feels off. Not wrong exactly, just different. He looks around. The buildings, they don't seem quite right. The colors are faded in a way that feels unnatural. The shapes are slightly unfamiliar, as if copied from memory rather than reality. And then he notices the silence. No engines, no distant hum of electricity, no modern noisette. Only the faint echo of footsteps. And something else, something older. He turns, and what he sees should not exist. A horse-drawn carriage slowly moves across the street behind him. The sound of wooden wheels creaking against stone fills the air. The horse exhales softly, its breath visible in the cool morning air. The man freezes, because just moments ago, this street was full of cars. This is not imagination. This is not a dream. This has happened before. Stories like this have been told for centuries, quietly passed from one person to another, often dismissed, sometimes feared. People who claimed they stepped into the wrong time. One of the most unsettling aspects of these stories is how ordinary they begin. A walk, a trip, a moment of distraction. There was once a woman who took a simple walk through the gardens of a historic estate. The day was calm, the sky soft and gray. She wandered along a familiar path, her footsteps gentle against the earth. But as she moved deeper into the garden, she began to notice something strange. The atmosphere became heavier. The colors around her seemed to dull, as if the world itself was fading. And then she saw them, two women, standing near a small building. They were dressed in old-fashioned clothing, not costumes, not replicas, real garments, worn naturally, moving with the wind as if they belonged to another era. The woman felt her heart begin to race. She tried to convince herself it was a performance, a reenactment, something logical, but there were no signs, no tourists, no modern objects anywhere, just silence. And these figures from the past. One of the women turned and looked directly at her. Their eyes met. And in that moment, something passed between them. Not words, not understanding, just a shared awareness that something was terribly wrong. Then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. The garden returned to normal. The colors came back. The air felt light again. And the two women were gone. No trace, no explanation. Only a memory that refused to fade. These moments are often called time slips. But the name doesn't capture the feeling, because for those who experience it, it does not feel like slipping. It feels like being pulled, gently, quietly, into somewhere you do not belong. Another story tells of a man traveling through a European city. He had visited before. He knew the streets, but one afternoon, as he turned a corner, he found himself somewhere unfamiliar. The street was narrower, the buildings older, the air thick with the scent of smoke and something metallic. He walked forward slowly, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. People passed by him, but they did not react. Not one of them acknowledged his presence. It was as if he was invisible. A group of men stood near a doorway, speaking in a language that sounded familiar, yet slightly distorted, like an echo from the past. The man felt a growing sense of unease. Every instinct told him to leave, to turn back, to escape whatever this was. So he did. He retraced his steps, heart pounding, breath shallow. And when he turned the corner again, everything was normal. Cars, voices, modern life, as if nothing had ever happened. But something had, because he remembered every detail. There are those who believe these stories are simply tricks of the mind, that under certain conditions, the brain can create vivid illusions. But there are details that are harder to explain. People who describe locations they had never seen before, only to discover later that those places existed: accurate clothing, correct architecture, precise details that should have been impossible to know. What if time is not as fixed as we believe? What if it is not a straight line, but something softer, more flexible, something that can, under the right conditions, be crossed, not with machines, not with intention, but by accident, a momentary tear in the fabric of reality, just enough for someone to step through and then step back. Most who experience time slips return. They go back to their own time, their own lives, but not unchanged. Because once you have seen something like that, once you have felt the weight of another time pressing against your own, you cannot forget it. You begin to notice things, small things, moments, where reality feels slightly off, a shadow that lingers too long, a sound that doesn't match its source, a place that feels familiar, even though you've never been there before. And sometimes you wonder, what would have happened if you had stayed just a little longer? Would the world have accepted you, or would you have become another mystery, another story, another person who simply vanished? There are records, quiet, often overlooked, of people who disappeared without explanation, no trace, no evidence, no clear reason, gone as if the story itself slipped through time. So tonight, as you rest, as your mind begins to drift, consider this: time may not be as solid as it feels. The present moment may not be as permanent as it seems. And somewhere, perhaps very close, there may be another version of this world, another street, another sky, and all it takes is one step, one quiet and noticed step in the wrong direction, and suddenly you are no longer here, but somewhere else, somewhere older, somewhere you were never meant to be. And the question is, would you even realize it before it's too late, or would it feel perfectly normal until you try to come back?